Let me show you the basics of how I get a postcard from a ream of paper to something that I can send in the mail. I use 100-pound or 271 GSM premium color copy cover from Hammer Mill. Basically, you just want thick paper. I cut it into quarters, which is just the right size for something you can send in the mail. From there, you paint one side. I use really cheap matte acrylic paint that I just pick up at the craft store or at Walmart. And that's really all it takes. I used to use markers as well. I used markers, pens. You can probably use stickers if you want, as long as they're flat and as long as they're going to stay on. Crayons. You got kids? Let them write postcards and make postcards to send to family and friends. I'm sure they would absolutely love that. In my painting for today, I started with a base layer that had two colors that kind of mixed well, and that gave it a little bit of texture, just enough texture to give me something to start with. I had no idea what I was painting, but give yourself a little invitation to see where it'll go, and sometimes it can surprise you. While that layer is drying, I am washing my brushes, making sure I'm all set for the next layer. For the next one, I'm using kind of beachy colors. It's white with a little bit of a blue, a tealish blue. And I used little shapes. Squishy flowers, just anything to get me started. A little wreath. A little clump of flowers that could be the start of a bouquet, just circles, anything to get you started. And you don't have to get any lines down at this point. It all can be just smushy and blobby, and it'll look great at the end, I promise you. So I let that dry, and I made sure it was, I just get to enjoy what it looks like after each step, trusting the process that along the way, at least one of these cards is going to look nice. I let that project sit while I went to go pick my son up from school. So I brought my iPad with me, and I've been writing out affirmations and drawing them out as coloring pages lately. It's nice to have projects that we can take with us. I obviously could not take paint in the car with me unless I'm really dedicated and very careful and very strategic. But for today, it was just enjoy a little bit of doodling on my iPad. I use the Procreate app if you're curious. And I use a lot of the basic stuff. I don't really do fancy brushes because why bother? Maybe at some point I'll bother, but for now, it's great. So when I got back home, I grabbed my microns and I started putting petals down. And it doesn't even matter if the underlines are a little squishy. This is where we tighten it in. So you start loose and then you tighten it up. So I've got some tiny flowers. I've got the start of something that looks like plumeria. I've got a little garland with little leaves. And I've also got a bouquet. And it takes a lot of trust to let it look messy along the way, but as you tighten in, it becomes really beautiful. So I'm really shocked actually that I ended up with 4 cards that I really enjoyed. Often I'll keep 2 that I like and just get rid of 2 that didn't quite make it along the way. I didn't have a vision for the splooshies. And that's just kind of how it works sometimes. So before I sent them out, I added a little bit of blue to the ones that didn't have extra color because yes, please to color. I wrote notes on the back and I sent them out. In order to send them, you need the left side for the note that you're going to write, and the right side is where you write the address and you put the stamp. It feels kind of silly explaining something so simple, but I had to look it all up almost neurotically when I first started my first postcard project because I was so worried none of the postcards would get to anybody. And I can just tell you, at least the way I do it, it gets to you.